Hello, seventh grade. It is Friday morning. We are getting ready for the weekends, and we have one more school day, and then we will have a couple days break. We are starting our new English book, 101, and we are ready for the first page. Let's look over the goals that you're going to be doing in what you're going to be learning in this book. You're going to be identifying the elements of a short story or a novel, and we're going to gain further insights into the Swiss Family Robinson. I know you guys are excited about this book. You get to read some more. In this pace, you'll be finishing this book up. We're going to be learning about a simile, a metaphor, personification, and a hyperbola. We're going to learn how to use chronological order, spatial order, and order of importance in developing paragraphs. And we're also going to identify and properly use personal, compound, interrogative, demonstrative, relative, and indefinite pronouns. You guys have learned those before, but it's going to be some review. All right, if you're ready for your verse, I'll give you your verse. It's 2 Timothy 2:24. And it starts like this. And the servant of the Lord, must not strive. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, semicolon, but be gentle unto all men, comma. But be gentle unto all men, comma. Apt to teach, that's apt, A-P-T. To teach, comma, patient. And that's the end of the verse. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. All right, go to page 2. It says you've been reading and studying the Swiss Family Robinson, and it is a story edited and published by Johann Wies in the 18th century. Some stories, like those in the Bible, are true stories about real people and real happenings. Others, like the Swiss Family Robinson, are made up. True stories are called nonfiction. Made-up stories are called fiction. And they're all good stories with certain elements in common. A good story must have setting, characters, and a plot. Here are the elements of a story with key pictures to help you remember them. All right, if you look, you've got a picture and it looks like a lake, and it's got some mountains in the background, it's got some trees, and this is called the setting. The setting is a time and place of your story. It describes the country or house or room where the story happens. The setting tells you about the year or the period in history or the time of day. The weather can also be part of the setting. It's what is happening or where the story is taking place is actually the setting, where the story takes place. The characters are the people in your story. The author of a fiction story, remember the fiction story is a made-up story, he makes up his people, while the author of a true story tries to show what real people are like. The characters are revealed by what they say and how they act. So the characters in your story are the people that are involved in the book you're reading. The plot is the story itself. The plot is made up of happenings or events, each one leading logically to the next. Each story has problems or conflicts. In the plot, the characters solve the problems or resolve the conflicts. The plot is what the story is about, and the story itself is called the plot. All right, so numbers 1 through 6, you're basically answering questions from just what I've just read in those paragraphs. You guys can do that. Down at the bottom of the page, you see you've got 5 chapters there to read. Remember again, this is not chapters, it's you follow the page numbers. It says to read to chapter 25, so just look again on your schedule and see how far actually chapter 25 goes to, what page number it goes to. That's what you're going to be reading. And turn your page to 3. This is your last page. It says the Bible contains many stories, some of which are whole books, like the book of Esther, the book of Jonah. Those are whole, the book is the story itself. Let's look at some Bible stories and see how they illustrate the elements of storytelling which we have just learned. And actually the first one is the book of Esther. And they give you 3 options. You have 3 blanks. The first one says, Shushan, the palace of the Persian king Ahasuerus, around 521 BC. All right, this is the palace where the story took place. Is that the setting? Are they talking about the characters? Or is it the plot? What do you think would be the town that it took place in and the palace? I think that should be your setting. That is where the book of Esther took place at. The next blank, number 2, you have Ahasuerus, you have the king, you have Esther, the queen, you have Mordecai, who is a faithful Jew, and you have Haman, the Agagite. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Is that the characters or the plot? I think you would say it is the characters. And number 3 is, because he hates Mordecai, Haman tricks the king into signing a decree which would annihilate all Jews. That means kill them. Esther the queen is used of God to save her people, the Jews, from this tragedy. So basically they gave you a little story in a nutshell, and that is the plot. That they're telling you what the book of Esther is about. That is the plot. All right, and 4, 5, and 6, you're going to do the same thing. I think you guys can do that one. That one is a story about Jonah, and you need to decide which one is the characters, which one is the plot, and which one is the setting. Fairly simple to do. And those 3 pages are your assignment for today. Should not take you too long. Have a good weekend. See you Monday.